This morning our candidate is standing once more in Rushen. Juan Watterson surprised many, indeed perhaps surprised himself when he topped the poll 5 years ago. He's now 31, educated at Rushen Primary and Castle Rushen High School, a first-class honours degree collected on his way to his then-chosen career of accountancy, married with a daughter, has proved an active questioner of the government from the backbenches. He has served in the Health Department, Economic Development, and was chairman of the important committee looking into the Kauphting affair. Good morning, Mr. Watterson.
Good morning. 5
years on, has your view of the possible in politics changed at all?
No, I think we always knew anyone who goes into the House of Keys must know that it's your one voice out of 24 or one voice out of 33 in Tynwald, and that's just not easy. And it's been a frustrating 5 years.
But you didn't go in with rose-tinted glasses and think, I'm going to change the world?
Far from it. Anyone who does their homework should know better.
So, in that 5 years, what are you most proud of?
I think there's a few things that I'm proud of. I think the changes brought about to the scrutiny system, some of the changes to the social security system, bringing the DHSS in on budget for a year. I think these are the sort of achievements that I'm proud to have stood up and be accounted for the last 5 years.
Something that's been pointed out by a lot of people is obviously the Freedom of Information Act, which hasn't happened, although it seemingly was promised to happen. Does the government feel right to feel guilty about not bringing that in? Was it deliberately put to one side?
Well, I'm not a member of the Council of Ministers, and I'm not involved in the inner thinking, but I was as disappointed as many other members were by the lack of commitment, I think, to accountability and transparency.
Would that be a priority if you got back in?
I think it would, and along with the reforms that I tried to move on in terms of the budget process as well, which I think would be another sort of key element of making sure that the political system and the government's finances were far more open and able to be discussed by the public.
Now, you were famously part of a group of MHKs who spent some time together bonding, I think, on the Calf of Man. Was that just a pleasant outing, or was anything achieved by that?
It was a pleasant outing. We've never gone into it with a design for a political party or a caucusing group or anything like that. It was just group of people getting to know each other. And
isn't it important for new MHKs basically to get together to actually learn the ropes? Because it seems a lot of them flounder for a while.
I think it does help because, of course, we all ended up in different departments, so you end up learning not just about your own department, but what's going on in others, learning some of the thinking behind it, and actually doing some of the questioning and challenging before anything even gets anywhere near Tynwald, which I think is very constructive.
You're an accountant, of course. Well, here's some maths. £250,000 or more has been spent by the Manx public on your salary in the last 5 years. Are you worth it?
Yes. And as I say, I think that what we should be doing is, instead of complaining that MHKs get paid £50,000 a year, we should send MHKs who are worth £50,000 a year. So
it's up to the electorate.
Absolutely.
Of the 60-plus candidates to vote for once. You used the word lousy to describe the 5 years ahead of us. A lousy time to be in politics. So why are you standing? It doesn't sound very appealing, does it?
No, but someone's got to make these sort of decisions. Someone's got to be responsible for the redesign of the government, the slimming down of the civil service. Someone's got to do this. It's not going to be terribly popular, but I'm willing to be a part of that.
As far as Chief Minister's position is concerned, do you think that a Chief Ministerial, someone who has aspirations in that direction, should declare before the election?
I do, and I think I said as much 5 years ago as well, and I'd certainly favour candidates that did that.
So do you think it should be sine qua non that they should have to do that?
Yeah, I think they should, but on the and certainly public opinion supports that. Certainly looking at Hugh Davidson's poll, but on the other side, I think possibly John Shimon would say that it probably lost in votes in Douglas West last time. So it's a bit of a no-win situation, isn't it?
Who would your money be on? Of course, you're in the Economic Development Department. Your minister is the front runner as far as it seems the public are concerned.
Well, I've got to get re-elected first before I even think about getting
taking that as a granted. If you get re-elected, who would you put your money
on? I honestly wouldn't know at this stage.
Well, who's the best person for the job? If you look back and thought, that's the person who should lead us.
That's just a very difficult question. I don't have a good answer for you, but my money would probably be on someone like Eddie Tier or John Shimon.
Lousy, you describe the next 5 years. Presumably all through that 5 years we're going to have money problems, aren't we?
I think so, yes. We're certainly going to have a major challenge in balancing the books over the next 5 years, although we actually have to do it in 3. And that is going to be a real challenge, and that's where I think my background lends something to contribute, I suppose.
Every other jurisdiction obviously borrows money. We don't. No. Is it time to change?
No, I don't think it is. I think that the way that we do it, which is remarkably prudent, is exactly the right way to do it. We don't need to leverage our economy in the same way that other economies do. We'd find it very difficult because we don't have an independent monetary policy here. So I think the way we're doing it in terms of providing a balanced budget is right. I think there's plenty of other things about the the budgeting process that need reform, but I don't think that's one of them.
Two quick questions. The roundabout at Balakilawi. Well, is that what? Do we need that?
No, we didn't. And I went down to a meeting at the sea terminal with Quintin Gill and told the minister and his officers that before it even got off a piece of paper. Now, of course, a decision was made outside of that meeting that it was going to go ahead. Certainly not one I agreed with.
One last question. Development in the Rushen area. Very desirable area. Should development go ahead?
What development are you talking about?
In the southern plan, should there be people encouraged to live down that area because it's such a great place to live?
Well, certainly all the areas for land have been identified in the southern area plan. We're certainly looking to get certainly more first-time buyers' houses in the south, in Rushen, because we still have a number of young people there who have a housing need.
So there's still a need down there?
Absolutely, as much as there's a need for more jobs in the south as well.
Mr. Watterson, Juan Watterson, who will be standing in the constituency of Rushen in the election night, September the 29th. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.